Flat Earth advocacy, in its modern form, is not just a fringe curiosity, nor a simple misunderstanding of elementary science. It is a full-blown rhetorical culture, defined not by a particular belief in the world's shape, but by a style of discourse built around endless, performative questioning. The defining move in this environment is known as jacking off, spelled as JAQ, a term that captures the routine of endlessly just asking questions, with no intention of reaching any answer. In flat Earth circles, this has become more than a tactic. It is the entire method. Jacking off lets promoters churn out doubt, retreat from responsibility, and repackage the same dead-end talking points in perpetuity, while masquerading as curious rebels. The act itself is more important than the content. Its psychological and social functions run deeper than most realize. Jacking off provides its practitioners with not just a tool for rhetorical evasion, but a sense of control, belonging, and personal significance in a world they perceive as fundamentally hostile or deceitful. To understand flat Earth advocacy in the age of jacking off, start with the observable fact that these circles are never really interested in the hard work of discovery. A person who sincerely doubts the Earth's shape and who truly wants to know, in the scientific sense, will seek out the best evidence, test it, weigh competing explanations, and revise their view as the data accumulates. The point of jacking off is precisely the opposite. It is a strategy for staying in perpetual suspension. Every question is loaded with the implication that the mainstream narrative is false, corrupt, or absurd. Yet when answers are supplied, when evidence is given or experiments are referenced, the questioner simply moves on to the next question, or repeats the same one in new words. This is not curiosity, but ritual. It is doubt as performance art. The goal is to undermine the legitimacy of mainstream knowledge without ever exposing one's own beliefs to the same level of scrutiny. Flat Earth communities do not reward the building of models or the solving of problems. They reward the constant churning of doubt. The rhetorical function of jacking off is obvious to anyone who has watched these exchanges unfold. The advocate positions themselves as just asking, never as making a claim. This posture is a shield. By never asserting a positive model, never committing to a falsifiable statement, they remain unaccountable. When challenged, when asked, "Okay, what's your model? How does your map work? What causes seasons on your flat Earth?" The advocate simply sidesteps the burden. They can keep lobbing questions forever because they are never expected to defend anything. This is not only intellectually lazy, it is the perfect tool for recycling long debunked ideas. Old questions about the horizon, the curve, flight paths, or why we can't see Australia from Europe are dragged out year after year, always under the banner of innocent curiosity. Yet these are not genuine invitations to discovery. They are rhetorical booby traps. The cycle is endless and deliberate. A particularly revealing example is the favorite question, "If the Earth is spinning, why can't I feel it?" This is a question answered in every basic physics textbook and every high school classroom. Yet the flat Earth promoter repeats it as if it is brand new, as if no one has ever thought about it. When provided with the explanation about inertia, relative motion, the scale of the Earth, the advocate simply shrugs it off, pivots, or feigns skepticism. The very structure of jacking off is to make any answer insufficient, any evidence suspicious, and to keep the conversation in a kind of rhetorical quicksand where nothing can ever be resolved. As the quote attributed to Bertrand Russell so succinctly puts it, "When true scientists ask a question, they want an answer and will give due consideration to any possibilities. Deniers, on the other hand, will ask the same undermining questions over and over, long after they have been definitively answered. The questions, used to cast doubt, are all they are interested in, not the process of discovery they're meant to inspire." This is not a side effect. It is the method itself. The psychological rewards for this kind of performative doubt are powerful. First, Jacking off allows the advocate to signal independence and specialness. By refusing to accept mainstream answers, the individual sets themselves apart from the herd, claiming a kind of epistemic high ground. In a world where most people accept what they're told by teachers, scientists, or news anchors, the flat earth promoter becomes a lone wolf, a renegade, a truth seeker who sees through the lies. The very act of endless questioning becomes a badge of honor. It suggests not just skepticism, but bravery. In this way, the rhetorical style is welded to identity. The performance of doubt is no longer about the external world. It is about the internal need to be someone who cannot be fooled. Second, jacking off supplies a sense of control in a world where many feel powerless. Modern society is bewildering, dominated by vast systems, government, science, technology, that are opaque to the average person. For those who feel alienated or excluded from these institutions, flat earth circles offer a sandbox where they can play at being a scientist without risking failure or embarrassment. The endless questioning posture lets them feel superior to experts. They have discovered flaws and inconsistencies that thousands of actual scientists supposedly missed. This illusion of control is intoxicating. It allows the adherent to turn their ignorance into a weapon, their confusion into a virtue. There is also the reward of community. Online flat earth groups are built around the ritual of jacking off. Members are celebrated not for bringing new information or refining a model, but for asking the cleverest questions, for finding a new way to phrase an old doubt, or for catching an expert in a supposed contradiction. The social incentives are all oriented around reinforcing doubt and recycling talking points. Those who step out of line, who suggest that maybe, just maybe, a mainstream explanation has some merit, are ostracized or mocked. Belonging in these circles means participating in the collective performance of unanswerable questions. The group supplies validation, encouragement, and a sense of shared mission. What makes jacking off so effective as a rhetorical move is the plausible deniability it confers. If anyone pushes back, the advocate can protest that they are just asking questions, that they have a right to skepticism, that there are no stupid questions. This is a rhetorical shield that is nearly impossible to penetrate because it appeals to the most basic principles of open inquiry. Yet in practice, it is a parody of inquiry. There is no honest attempt to weigh evidence, to entertain possible answers, or to follow the argument wherever it leads. Instead, there is only the endless loop. Ask, receive answer, dismiss or ignore, repeat. The shield quickly becomes a weapon. Anyone who objects to the process is labeled close-minded or indoctrinated. The flat earth advocate never has to defend a position because the only position they occupy is that of eternal questioner. This method is not unique to flat earth circles, but it has found its purest expression there. Historically, every fringe belief system has relied on a kind of strategic skepticism. Ask about the moon landings, ask about evolution, ask about vaccines, always framing the question as innocent, always refusing to accept any answer. But the internet has turned this into a global, high-velocity phenomenon. YouTube, Facebook, and forums are overflowing with flat earth experiments that are little more than recycled questions and misunderstandings dressed up with scientific-sounding language. Videos with titles like 10 Questions Science Can't Answer About the Globe rack up millions of views, but the questions are almost always ones that have been answered 100 times over. There is no curiosity here, only a commitment to doubt. The mimicry of scientific language is another key element. Flat Earth promoters love to talk about evidence, experiments, proof, and research. But these words mean something entirely different in their hands. An experiment might be a shaky smartphone video of a level placed on a plane, or a balloon flight where the curvature of the Earth is hand-waved away with ad hoc explanations. Evidence is cherry-picked and never evaluated in context. The language of science is worn like a costume, giving the performance an air of credibility for the uninitiated. But at no point is there a willingness to play by the rules that actually define science. Making predictions, risking being wrong, revising one's model, or abandoning ideas that fail the test. The rhetorical method is to mimic the surface of science while denying its substance. Within the flat earth community, repetition is everything. The same dozen questions and talking points resurface in every forum, video, and debate. These range from childlike misunderstandings, why doesn't the water fall off the earth, to misapplications of perspective and optics. Why can I see distant mountains that should be below the curve, to fantastical claims about NASA faking every image and flight path. The questions are never truly about finding answers. They are about keeping the flame of doubt alive. By circulating these questions endlessly, the community creates the impression of a debate that will never be settled, a world of mystery where the only wise response is skepticism. But this skepticism is selective and self-serving. It never cuts both ways. No one in these circles is ever allowed to seriously question the flat earth model itself. The performance of inquiry is strictly one-directional. The psychology underlying jacking off is rooted in a cocktail of modern alienation, narcissism, and a craving for simple stories. The posture allows adherents to imagine themselves as heroes in a grand drama, defenders of truth, rebels against a corrupt establishment, martyrs for a cause the world is too blind to see. It creates a sense of rebellion that is costless. It requires no risk, no new learning, no real challenge to the self. Just keep asking, just keep doubting, and you never have to move or grow. There is also a built-in sense of specialness, of being one of the awakened few who can see the hidden truths. This is not mere skepticism. It is a full-blown identity play. Every unanswered, or rather willfully unanswered question is a trophy, a badge that says, "I will not be fooled." The roots of this behavior stretch back through decades of fringe beliefs and movements. From the earliest pseudo-scientific pamphlets to the modern deluge of social media, the same questions about gravity, curvature, and evidence of the senses have been making the rounds. The only thing that changes is the medium. The essential psychology is constant. The world is confusing, authorities have sometimes lied, and the hunger for certainty is unending. Flat Earth advocacy offers certainty through endless uncertainty. It offers clarity by rejecting all answers but its own. The defining feature of jacking off is that it is not, and never has been, about truth. It is about the performance of doubt, the signaling of identity, and the maintenance of a community whose main product is suspicion. The anti-epistemological nature of this posture is unmistakable. Where real inquiry leads toward knowledge, even if only incrementally, jacking off leads nowhere. It is a closed loop, a perpetual motion machine of the mind that exists to feed itself. There are no new discoveries here, no honest confrontations with the unknown. Only the endless, hollow comfort of questions that never need to be answered, and the warm validation of a crowd that will never challenge your right to keep asking. Flat Earth advocacy as it is practiced today does not need to win a debate or convert the world. Its only aim is to keep the machine running. Jacking off is the fuel and the engine, the script and the stage. It is the art of asking without learning, doubting without risking, and belonging without believing in anything except your own chosen role. When viewed with clear eyes, it stands exposed as a self-sustaining ritual, an endless, noisy dance of questions that mean nothing, performed for an audience that wants nothing more than to keep the music going forever.